Welcome back to the Unplayable Podcast, and yes, that's right, there's some fresh intro music because, as you could probably tell from the title of this episode, it's time for a brand new series. Leading into KFC BBL 12, we're going to be bringing you exclusive interviews with some of the league's biggest names in our Big Bash series. We're kicking it off today with Hobart Hurricanes recruit Big Bad Billy Stanlake, who reveals to us that he's back bowling at full pace after several serious injuries. This is a guy who's played for Australia 26 times, and he's still only 28, believe it or not. Before we jump into that though, a reminder that BKT Big Bash Tipping is back. Pick the team that you think could win each match this season, and you could walk away with fantastic prizes. For example, the top tipper will walk away with 10 grand in cold hard cash. Whew. Of course, you may just want to play for bragging rights, so join or create a league to take on your friends, family and colleagues. Best of all, it's free and easy to join. Just head to tipping.cricket.com.au and sign in with your cricket ID to get started. I'll also drop a link to that in the episode notes. Now make sure you've got your helmet, your pads, your box and your gloves, because it's time to chat to Billy Stanlake, who caught up with cricket.com.au's Jack Paynter earlier in the week.
Thanks for joining me. Last time we spoke, you just signed with Tassie. How's the move down been?
It's been very good so far. It's been a quick, I think it's about 5 months now. So, it's actually gone really quick. So, everything's gone really well so far. So, it's been really enjoyable so far.
And did you have to stock up on extra knits or stuff, having moved from Queensland? It's been a bit cold and wet.
There hasn't been too much summer clothes being brought out just yet. We're in December and I've still got a hoodie on. So, there's a few cold days in pre-season, that's for sure.
And you're obviously building back from injury. You haven't played yet this summer, but how's the pre-season been?
It's been really good. I've pretty much had a full pre-season, pretty much no interruptions. So, that was massive for me. And then, been progressing nicely with my bowling the last few months, and had a scan last week, which was good news again, which gave me the all clear to start going full tilt. So that was exciting. And then, I think this Saturday I'm playing a club T20, so, it'd be nice to get back out there finally.
So what club did you link up with down there?
Playing for Gradda North Raiders, actually. They're based in Launceston, so luckily the game's in Hobart, so I don't have to travel, which is nice.
So have you had to do much travelling up to Launceston for training and stuff with club, or have you just been based with the Tigers out at Belrive?
Yeah, no, I've just been based with the Tigers. So the coach, Tim Call, he was pretty good about it. He just said, no, look, you don't have to worry about coming to training. Obviously, it's like 2.5 hours, 3 hours to Launceston. So, just been based in Hobart.
How'd you end up in Launceston? It's obviously a bit of a north-south divide in Tasmania. How'd you go with that?
Well, I think I had a couple of choices. I had interviews with both clubs, and then I think just knowing Tim Call from previously worked at Cricket Australia, and I'd sort of known him previously, so we already had a relationship, so that just made things quite easy. I think the games I'm available for are in Hobart anyway, so that just made it a lot easier for me.
You talked about sort of getting back into bowling. You're back at full tilt yet, and when can we expect to see you in action for the Hurricanes?
The last couple of bowling sessions, I've been going full tilt, which has been nice. Haven't done it for 18 months, so finally to just be bowling at training, not worrying about having restrictions on and worrying about what intensity I'm going to, just to let it go and bowl normally without any worries. It's been really nice. A couple more sessions this week, and then it gets a run out Saturday with, in the club T20, and then I think the plan is probably after the first couple, might miss the first couple games for Hurricanes, and then I think they should be available. I think the plan is to play 2 club T20s first, and then it should be all ready to go.
And have you got a game in mind? Will it be a home game down at Belrive or Launceston there? Or?
I think it might be an away game, I think.
So when I think it was May that we spoke, that you just had a scan a couple of weeks ago there, and it was good news. How many scans have you sort of had across the process, and has it basically been each time you tick a box off and you?
Yeah. So I've been having a scan once a month at the end of every month. It's been a pretty thorough process. The medical team down here have been fantastic. it's been a very well thought out process. And not only the team down here, I've had a couple other people looking at the scans as well at the end of each month. So it's been a great team effort after every month to review the scans and make sure everything's tracking how we liked. And then, all those people getting on the same page and ticking off, the next progression, which is what we've done sort of on a monthly basis. So everyone's been fantastic down here. So, can't be happier with where I'm at the moment.
And how's the excitement going about finally getting back out there on the weekend with the club T20? It's been a long time.
Yeah, a few people said exciting. I'm just like, just sort of normal. I don't think I've really thought about it too much. I think I've said it last time in the interview. Like, I think throughout my rehab progress, it's just been sort of a day-to-day sort of knocking another week off. So I haven't really ever looked too far ahead. So I think that's why it's sort of gone pretty quick for me. I've never really looked further than the week ahead. So that's still probably how I'm training. So, it's kind of just feeling quite normal at the moment, to be honest.
Sure, it won't be... we'd just like sort of picking up the tools again, won't it, once you get back out there and bowl that first ball?
I'm sure once I get out there, I'll probably start trying to bowl bloody as fast as I can. So I'm sure the competitive juice will hit me straight away.
There's been a bit of excitement so far each time, Jeff Vaughan or one of the Tigers coaches or even Silky has been asked about your progress. Have you had to sort of rein them in, or do you like that feel, and does that keep you motivated to keep going through the process of rehab and building up your loads?
Yeah, I think there's been a little bit of excitement over the last sort of week or two since I've started bowling off a full run and getting back up to full tilt. But look, as I said, I think sometimes other people might be more excited than what I am. So as I said just before, I just treat it as a really process. Sort of ticking off the box each time and making sure everything's going well. So I haven't really thought about it too much, really. I think people said he's excited to get back out there, you're nervous, and I just, it's like actually feel quite normal. So I think that's just probably been the way I've gone about the whole last 18 months in both rehabs.
So are you nervous? Will you be nervous, do you reckon, on Saturday?
No, I don't think so. I think I'd be just more eager and keen to get out there and just bowl out in the game instead of the training. So, but I'm sure some nerves will kick in at some point. But yeah, I think it'd just be more, eagerness to get out there.
It's probably a bit more on your terms in a match, isn't it, rather than the nets? You can sort of ruffle a few feathers amongst the batters.
Yeah, it's definitely it'd be nice to get the competitive juices going a bit. Obviously, it's hard to simulate game-like competitiveness in training, so I think it'd be nice to get those emotions and feelings going again, because obviously it's been quite a long time since I've had that. So, I think that'd be nice and definitely something I'm looking forward to.
And talk us through the move from the Stars to the Hurricanes. I understand it was sort of their idea at first, but then you're obviously keen to align both the state and the Big Bash deals with the medical teams and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think in the end we sort of had a pretty mutual agreement, and I spoke to Haas, and in the end I think it's probably worked out pretty well. Obviously, especially with the transition going from obviously moving states as well, and then obviously having the long layoff. I think it probably just ensured everything was in control down here, and we stuck to the plan. We weren't getting ahead of ourselves. So I know the physio was pretty happy to be able to manage me down here as well. So I think it's worked out really well. I think I'm looking forward to just sticking in one place for the season, which obviously it's a pretty pivotal time for me. It's been sort of 18 months. So I think just to have that bit of normal continuity, be able to just stay at home is probably going to be a good thing for me. And
did you talk about it being sort of a day-by-day process? You just focus on that next session. Did you think that there might be a time where you might not get back to this point, on being on the verge of playing again?
I think once you get back to bowling, you started creeping back to the full run. I think there's always little nerves, thinking, what if it goes again? But I think each time you sort of progressed and started bowling a little bit harder and pulled up fine, and then that probably gives you confidence. And then I think now to have a couple of sessions of going full tilt, pulling up with no dramas, I think that gives you confidence. But yeah, there's always a little bit nervous, like when you start to up the intensity a little bit, going, oh shit, like, hopefully it doesn't go on me again. But I think especially the last couple of weeks, I think that's given me a lot of confidence now just to bowl without any trepidations or worries. I'm feeling really good. And every time there's a progression, coach will say he's bowling at 50% or half tilt,
this time. Talk to us how hard it is to actually bowl at a certain percentage in training. Like, how do you manage that?
I think I was probably going unders than what we sort of were planning. I think because I was still just like didn't want to, like, obviously what happened last time where it just went on me. I was probably taking a little bit longer each time to get to where we sort of wanted it to be. But it is hard, especially for rhythm and that kind of stuff to bowl at like 60, 70%. And then 80, it is quite hard. It's definitely like once you let free and you're not worried about that stuff, like all your action and your rhythm starts to get a bit better. So that's probably that was probably the most frustrating thing, is going to like 60, 70% and trying to find a bit of rhythm with your bowling and not get the shits, which I did a couple of times. And then, but yeah, once you get back to that full intensity, you're not worried about that stuff. Yeah, it definitely just frees you up and all the rhythm starts to come back and you get your action going a lot better.
And you talked about, how much you missed, playing, and you sort of can feel it now that you just want to get back out there and just be in that competitive environment again. Has that helped you get through, each day and each week and each session and through the grind of the rehab and the recovery?
Yeah, I think I found a way to stay motivated and not have a sulk or feel sorry for myself throughout the time. I think, like always sort of, it's just, you got to use it as motivation to come back better. And once you get back, it's going to be, it's going to be rewarding for all the shit times and shit gym sessions and all that crap that you go through. So, I think that's what I tried to do that when I was younger as well, when I had stress fractures. But yeah, I think I just try and use it as a motivation and something to keep you going. So obviously it's a long, pretty slow process, and to do it twice in a row, you can get pretty monotonous. So definitely use it as a bit of fuel, and definitely I think keep me going. And then again, just to break it down as a slow process and week at a time, that kind of thing. I think I started to find that I'd be like, shit, it's another month down. Everything was going quite quick. I think just because I sort of broke it down. Took it by that session by session, week by week. So, then it's come around bloody quick for me. So, it definitely helped me.
Yeah, it just feels like yesterday when you're moving down to Tassie. So, yeah, certainly there's a lot of cricket to keep us all busy. So, is there anyone who you're particularly, looking forward to bowling with at the Tigers or the Hurricanes?
I think we've got a pretty strong bowling lineup, and obviously I think we all bring a little bit of point difference as well. So I think to have plenty of different skill sets without the bowling unit, I think is fantastic. I think that's what good bowling sides have, is a lot of different point differences. So we all do our thing in a little bit of a different way. So I'm looking forward to obviously competing with Riz and trying to get the speed gun up there. I'm looking forward to bouncing off everyone. Obviously, I'm yet to play a game with any of the boys down here, so that first game will be exciting.
And what's it like been working with Robbie Castle so far? He's been making a bit of an impact so far with Riley and Nathan Ellis, and he's obviously got a bit of a reputation around the world. What sort of impact has he had on you so far?
Yeah, it's been great. Obviously, we haven't been around as much with each other as much as what the guys have. They're playing just because they're away so much. But every time he's been there, we've always analysed where my actions at, picked up on a couple of little things. So, he's been great. I think just reinforcing the basic stuff and making sure we're ticking off my action stuff and that thing each session. I think it's just been great to have around, and he's a calming voice.
And in terms of the longer form stuff with Riley, he's been sort of working to bowl sort of periods and spells within himself. Has it been a sort of similar approach to you when you eventually get back to that longer form stuff?
I haven't even thought about that, to be honest. I think that's probably going to be something for next year to think about.
What about changes you've had to make in your game throughout the preseason to get back to this point? Have you had to do anything technically wise in getting through your action?
It was only just a sort of couple minor things that I found sort of last week once I started getting back off my full run. But other than that, just a couple simple things I've sort of had over the last few years. Back when I worked with Bick, that we sort of just reinforced, and a couple of little things from some older footage I had from a few years ago, just to sharpen up a little bit with getting back to full run and full tilt. So a couple of those little tweaks have worked out nice, and I'm actually feeling really good, to be honest.
And has there been a fair bit of footage of, as you step through each progression during the pre-season to building back up to those full loads? Have you been able to sort of watch yourself and sort of see yourself on footage as you go through that?
Yeah, pretty much sort of had someone taking some footage pretty much every session just about, and then just quickly reviewing it while during the session, and then then on the days off, just like reviewing it and making sure everything's okay or what can I be doing better. Obviously, you want to be getting into good habits before you get back to going full tilt. So I think that was probably the most important thing. And then still now that I'm back full tilt, just making sure I'm getting to good positions and making sure I'm doing things correctly for technically that's not going to put pressure on my back.
Yeah, nice. And you went and saw the spinal surgeon Matthew Scott Young on the Gold Coast earlier this year. Has he been one of those guys who've been reviewing your scans as well, sort of throughout the progress?
He hasn't, but I know he always said, if you ever have any questions or want Cricket Tasmania to get in touch, he always said he's more than happy for me to always touch base with him. So I think, he's always going to be someone to have, in my back pocket in case, I do need to just get another opinion. So, so that's terrific. So to have that contact, it's going to be an important thing going forward, definitely.
Talk us through how that sort of came about and the impact it's had on the new approach you took with your rehab going forward and into the move down to Tasmania.
I think when I originally saw him, I just sped up sort of what I was doing a little bit more earlier and got a little bit more active earlier in my rehab. And then, I think once I got down here, the team's been terrific. I think to have everyone on the same page, I think the communication between coaches and medical staff and everyone involved has been terrific throughout. And I think for them to have the patience and to not not to rush me back and to allow me just to get things right. I think as soon as we got down here, we sort of all sat down, and I think the number one goal was just for me to get this return to playing right. And however long that took, they were happy. That's all that mattered. So to have that sort of level of comfort for me to not feel rushed or trying to get back too early, I think the process has been really good, and I think that's why we're in a good place now. And it's been, I can't thank them enough. They've been terrific. So,
and is that's a bit of relief off your shoulders? Is it, like, not to feel that pressure? You've got to get back to playing straight away. You've just got to get back to playing right and on your terms and on your body's terms.
Yeah, I think just to have that peace of mind and not to be worrying about I've got to get up in time for this certain time and making sure I get stuff in. So just to have the only focus of getting the rehab right this time and making sure we don't have a repeat of last time. That's been the only focus, and it's worked out really well.
James Hope's coming down to the Hurricanes this year as well. What's it going to be like that bit of familiarity with another Queenslander?
Yeah, I think he got down this afternoon, so I think he'll be at training tomorrow. So I've been looking forward to seeing him. Obviously, haven't seen him for a while, so he's a terrific cricket mind. So he watches just about every game of cricket that's on TV, and obviously, he's played just about every level of cricket. So, he's a fantastic cricket bang, and I can't wait to definitely bounce off some ideas with him.
Have you spoken to Ricky much since he's sort of come on board? He's obviously a big fan of yours. So what's it going to be like sort of working with him sort of hand in hand, I guess?
No, I haven't yet, but I'm sure he'll pop his face down at some point. Obviously, he's a pretty busy man. He's all over the place. So, it'd be nice to see him at some point, that's for sure.
Once you sort of do get back on the park and into the swing of playing, what can we expect? Have you set yourself any goals, or does that come sort of once you get through the first game or the first couple of games?
I think, I like my goals hit the ground running straight away. I don't want to talk myself into, you need a couple of games to get back to perform well. I think the goal is just to come out straight away and have an impact and perform well. There's no reason why I can't. So, that's sort of how I'm approaching it. And
will it be the sort of Billy Stanlake of old, or have you developed a few new tricks over the past 6 months in the pre-season?
Obviously, I had sort of the knuckleball that I was using quite a bit before the injury. So that's definitely still one I like to use, and a couple of other styles. But it's obviously been difficult to work on really your skills in a rehab process. So sort of just starting to do that stuff now, just to make sure I can still bowl a couple of things because I haven't done it for so long. I think just the main point is just to make sure I'm in good positions, tour. I'm bowling fast, getting my bounce, and with my couple variations in Yorker. So I'm sort of starting to fine tune that stuff now that I'm sort of unrestricted. So it's a bit difficult to work on that stuff during the rehab process, but it's all sort of starting to come back now.
And how is the Yorker coming out? That's pretty ferocious when you're playing previously. Is it coming out the same?
I haven't been able to practice it too much yet. I think that's probably something over the next sort of week and a half I'll probably start trying to do quite a bit. Just been trying to sort of tick off my action and technique stuff, mainly make sure my stock ball's right. So I think that's the most important thing, is making sure my stock ball is where it needs to be, and I'm hitting that consistently, which seems to be happening pretty well at the moment. So definitely over that sort of next couple of weeks, I'll start fine tuning the rest of it.
And who's the opposition in club cricket this week? They must be feeling pretty unlucky to come up against you.
Yeah, I think a couple of our boys are talking a bit of shit to everyone, saying there's a few laughs going around training this morning. So I think it's Glenorchy. So there's one other boy, Nick Davis, who's a young fella, opens the batting. So I think I'll be meeting versus him. So we were talking a bit of smack the other day to each other.
Beautiful. Oh, thanks, Billy. That's all I've got for you. But glad to hear it's all going well, and the recovery's come along well. I'm looking forward to seeing you back out there soon.
All right, thank you.
Wishing Billy Stanlake all the best for KFC BBL 12. Let's hope he can get on the park and take a few polls. Just a reminder to click on that link in the episode notes if you want to sign up to BKT Big Bash Tipping, and you could walk away with 10 grand if you're the country's top tipper. Thanks for tuning in to this BBL preview, and stay tuned for the next episode.